All right.
Hit it.
Hello and welcome back to the aowhodis podcast. I'm joined today by my co-host Alexander.
What's up?
Oh,
I don't do the co-host thing.
you don't do the co-host thing, but you
No.
know what? I wanted to
I don't
come
like
in today
this.
with something like completely new. Just something that'll keep people on their toes, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, welcome back. I mean,
Thank you.
today we
You're so welcome.
it's like what 2:30 a.m.
Oh, something like that.
We're
It's
actually
been-
not in nature this time,
Dog.
which is I like it.
the whole shtick of the podcast is that we're like fishing.
Yeah.
And we have yet to do. This is episode 4.
Yeah,
Who Dis
right.
podcast 4.
We already gave up on the rods.
There's
We
no
gave-
more. We haven't given up on them.
I'm kidding.
So here is the spiel, or do you want to say it?
You go ahead.
Okay, so here's what's going down. Is that
I don't know
we
what's
have
going down, so I hope you
Me
do.
neither, dude. I'm just speaking. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Okay, so we only have 2 days to film like a ton of content, and so we really got to compartmentalize content. So we're over here at 2:30 a.m. filming
Yeah.
a podcast with no river really, and this is our only light source. Is this light on top of this random building? Okay, and so
It's the only light we could find.
and so we can't do it at like a lake because it'd be pitch black like the first episode actually. Funny enough, if you were there, which we also
we
weren't
weren't
at a lake, yet.
either, but we did have the rods that time.
We had the rods that time, so we could have gotten the rods, but they're all the way in my car. It's the whole thing.
Half of them are broken.
Don't
so,
worry about it. Not a big
yeah.
deal. Point is,
2/3. Yeah.
we're here, and you're getting a podcast rodless, but you know the rods didn't really add anything to the podcast actually at all, really.
Yeah.
They will someday, hopefully.
I mean, if anything, they probably like blocked the camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
It's so nice not being in the wilderness though. Like I was setting up, and it's like not having to deal with extreme hills
Yeah.
at all times.
Yeah.
So nice. Like,
No ticks. I can actually wear pajamas.
dude, this is what I'm
I was thinking
saying.
about wearing my slippers up here.
Yeah,
but
well,
no.
it's a little too cold for that.
Yeah. It
But
is
yeah,
very
so we
cold
had a
up here.
topic that we were talking about,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, let's save it for the pod, and so let's save it for the pod. And so this is something that hits home for both of us because we both have very different views on it. So we're gonna talk about it. Hopefully, it's some good discussion. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. 2:30 a.m. high.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
Yeah,
well,
right.
not for. Go ahead. You
Okay.
introduce it.
Well, I mean, we were talking about, I mean, simply, like we're both in college, and so we see a lot of people who drink, and we, like both of us, we have very different perspectives on it, and so I don't know. I'm curious what you think about it, because you know I don't know if you drink often. I don't know if you're an alcoholic or
So you, yeah.
or anything, but
I mean, you do know,
don't think
but you
you
say
are.
no.
Yeah.
You don't know for the pod.
right.
My view on alcohol is the same as a lot of things, where I don't believe that there's too many things that are intrinsically bad for you, and I don't think alcohol is one of them. I don't think alcohol is intrinsically bad for you. I just think there's a disproportionate majority of people who have made it a problem, and so it's incredibly easy to become a problem. And I know myself, I know my limits, I know that alcohol is outside of my limits. And even me saying that is a self-defeating mindset, but I'm okay with saying that because I know I'm not going to do it. Do you know what I mean?
You're
And
okay with
so
limiting yourself.
I'm okay with limiting myself because I'm literally limiting myself. And so if I was going into alcohol saying I'm addicted, so like we were talking to somebody today, just out and about, and they were smoking, and they said, "Yeah, dog, I'm so addicted to this."
Yeah.
And he kept doing it.
Yeah.
And he just like he couldn't quit.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's very interesting. And I didn't bring it up to him at the time because it wasn't the right maybe it was the right context, but I didn't want to because it was my first time meeting him and everything, and so I didn't. But
Mostly with smokers, that's probably not. But
and it was a room
yeah.
full of smokers as well, so I
Yeah.
was trying to be careful. But and so that when it becomes alcoholism has ruined so many families.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen too much benefit from somebody who's drinking alcohol. And they did studies on this, and the percentage value of safe alcohol consumption is 0%. There is no safe alcohol consumption that doesn't affect you in some way, shape, or form. And so it's very interesting. I don't think it's a bad thing inherently,
Right.
but I just know that I know myself, and I know that it would be a net negative in my life, and I would more than likely become a problem for me, probably. And even if it didn't become a problem, the benefit of it not becoming a problem isn't really worth any, like, it's not, I don't really gain anything from doing it other than, I mean, really, like, I don't know too much. Like, smoking is also a different thing, and I'd love to get into smoking
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
And I
it's
think we
very
should. I
similar,
think
yeah.
this can be the theme of the podcast because I'm on this right now.
Right.
I'm ready to go. Alcohol Yeah, that's my view. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And there's nothing for me to say because it seems like you have your mind made up on the subject. Like, obviously I'm not even gonna try.
So my
convince
made
you,
up
but,
is very. I mean, if I'm presented with evidence that's like, me drinking alcohol would actually be more of a positive than negative, I can absolutely switch my view. I'm not saying like it's not written in stone. I'm just saying like it doesn't make sense to me right now.
That's fair. But also isn't like it being a positive or a negative, that's not written in stone either.
No.
I feel like.
No. That's why I said it wasn't a positive or a negative. I just said it was, and people make it a positive or a negative.
I see.
Like I'll state it here clearly. Alcohol just is.
I see.
It is neither positive nor negative. It just is.
Bottom line,
and you
though.
take it and you make it a positive.
Bottom line, aren't you curious?
Sure, and that's why. 100%. And that's why I'm gonna do it at least once just to experience it because I think it's a valuable experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm never gonna do it consistently, probably.
Yeah.
But I will do it for sure. I don't think I think that I think a big part of the life that I want to live is experience, and so I'll absolutely do it. And I am curious, and so that's why I'm going to do it. But I'm going to do it in a safe environment with somebody I trust, not in a stupid way.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that there are any like connections you may be missing out on, worthwhile connections from not drinking right now?
100%, completely. It's the term social lubricant that people use a lot, and people blow it out of proportion. Like it's not that big of a social, but it's a pretty.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? Like it's not a
That's
life-changing social lubricant,
That's true.
but it is.
That's what I use it as.
It is a social lubricant,
Right?
And so I'm 1,000,000% losing out on social aspects for that, 100%. But the cost, like, there's a like.
What's the cost?
The cost of drinking alcohol. I'll get to the cost. I'll get to the. The cost of drinking alcohol is way too high compared to the benefits. And if those are the only benefits, I don't see. The cost for me is the chance of it ruining my life. Do you know what I mean? Because I've seen it ruin so many other people's lives.
I feel like I'm scared. I'm just with that mindset. I feel like it's kind of scary because you're going into something going into things with the mindset that that it could control you.
Oh, 100%. And so if I was going to become an avid drinker,
right,
that mindset is terrible, right? Completely. And you can't go into it thinking it's going to ruin your life, right?
Right.
But I'm okay with saying it's probably going to ruin my life because I know I'm not going to do it consistently. And so I'm okay with speaking that over myself.
But like, why do you even want to have that mindset? What's the gain from that? Like, why can't you also just have the mindset of, and this is obviously like, a child like line of thinking almost, but why can't you kind of have the limitless mindset of like, okay, well I can do this and I can also do everything else perfectly fine. You know what I mean?
Because it's childish and it's not true.
That's
like,
fair.
You can't.
That's fair.
Like alcohol.
Like you can't have a drink and then go about your life normally.
No. Some people can. I probably couldn't, because I
guess what's scary to me is like you haven't even drank yet and you're already going to the mindset of that's gonna be me.
Yeah, and honestly, it might not be.
Right.
But also that doesn't matter because what are the benefits of drinking alcohol other than the social aspect? Kind of nothing.
Well, connections and I mean genuine.
Genuine?
No. I was gonna say genuine enjoyment, but that's not the only way to enjoy things.
We could.
I find it's just a fun thing.
Yeah. Oh sure.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I mean, I drink every once in a while. Like I'll drink like once every 3 weeks probably at college. I'd go out, and I'll always go out when it's just a safe area, like where I live or a friend's apartment or some place that I know I'm not driving, I'm doing everything fine, like somebody on my team, but I don't know, I do it and I wake up the next day and I don't feel horrible, I don't feel amazing, but I feel like I'm gonna look back on that night and truly remember it. And it's not that I can't have those kind of nights, but for me, and I think for a lot of people, it definitely makes it easier to go out with people, especially that you don't fully know.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's kind of like, I mean, I don't want to say excuse. I think the better word, like you said, is social lubricant.
Yeah, and so I think it's.
And it also depends on the people you hang around, and the type of colleges you go to.
Yeah, I think it's
I think where I'm at, it's a lot more entertained.
Yeah, 100%. I think we should define enjoy, and so I've spent a lot of time for me trying to like define like what does enjoy mean,
Hmm.
and so like we'll get to that, but to your point of like alcohol definitely helps you if you can avoid the downside, right?
Right.
Um, I just probably wouldn't be able to avoid the downside, but it's a very good point. And honestly, like I said, new evidence, like I haven't drinking yet, right? And so I might
Right.
drink, I can completely control this.
Yeah.
And then I might be like, okay, I will go drink in moderation with, X, Y, Z
Right.
and certain, do you know what I mean? And so I haven't drinking yet. This is the conclusion that I'm assuming I'm going to come to.
Right.
But I'm also open to like, okay, maybe I can completely control this. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so
And
let's-
I don't want to add a disclaimer. I don't mean to interrupt you. I don't think that alcohol is like you can totally abuse it. It's
in
not
fact, not
not
even like a stipulation. That's like the disproportionate standard.
yeah. And you know the I'm not sure if it's majority or just average. I'm not honestly sure the exact stats, but I think a large amount of people can't fully control it. But I think pretty much what I was trying to say was going into it with that mindset is scary. Yeah,
And
I
so
don't
I
wanna,
wouldn't
like,
drink
go for alcohol or anything.
Right. And so going into drink, if you know you're gonna drink consistently, going with the mindset that
Yeah.
I'm probably screwed, that's completely ridiculous.
That's
and you're
scary
dumb.
as fuck.
But also knowing you're not gonna drink, going into the mindset with if I were to drink, this would occur. Yeah, that's weird. But
Yeah.
also, I'm still going to try it, right? And I'm still going to. I think it's valuable for me to understand my limits when it comes to drinking, and so I'll learn. And then if I judge, okay, I could probably experience this amount of safety
Right.
in a and then I know, all right, I'm in this amount of control in this, and then maybe I will. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not opposed to it completely. I'm just saying at this point in my life, I'm not planning on doing it in the future other than once.
That's fair.
And so I think let's hit on enjoyment real quick.
Sure.
So there's two parts of enjoyment. There's N and there's joy. So let's define joy real quick. For me, the way I would define joy, and so I got most of this is from me. This is the one part I got from Alex Hormozzi.
Yeah.
He called it joy being present.
Okay.
And so the rest of this is from me.
I agree.
And so I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and eventually the conclusion I came to was joy means being present regardless of emotional tone. And we can just cut emotional tone and say regardless of how you feel. Being present regardless of how you feel. And so you can be super happy, and then really sitting in that and feeling it. You're experiencing joy. But you can also be extremely, extremely sad and sitting in that and feeling that you are also experiencing joy. And so when you look at enjoy, what does N mean? N is a Latin root for to make, to put into, or to immerse yourself in. N, immerse yourself, joy. So enjoy means to immerse yourself in the moment regardless of how you feel. And so the way that I see the world at 19 years old who has no idea what he's talking about is when people say, I want to enjoy my life, I want to go out and I want to drink, I want to smoke, I want to get high, I want to get drunk, you're completely detracting yourself from the moment. Those things are completely deterring yourself from the current moment. And in most cases, especially with drinking, you just don't remember a lot of what occurred. And so you say you're enjoying, but the way that I've defined it, you're actually doing the exact opposite of enjoying your life. You're unenjoying your life. And so what's scary is that when somebody says, okay, I want to enjoy my life, which means I want to live in the moment regardless of how I feel, they sit in the moment and they're living in it and they realize, oh, holy crap, my life sucks. And so there's two things you can do. You can either stop enjoying your life and go back into those quick stimuli that make you feel better for the moment, and alcohol is absolutely one of those, right? It's also very easy to not start. It's very easy to not do something when you've never done it. Does that make sense? Like if you can never be addicted to something you've never done, right?
Sure.
And so that mindset can be very self-defeating in some ways, but can also be very helpful in some ways. And so when people go, my life sucks, I hate everything about this, but they're living in the moment. They're actually experiencing joy. And so
I don't really think they're living in the moment. I think it's kind of the opposite. They're thinking of everything outside of the moment. They're thinking of the past, which they messed up, the present, which they hate, the future, which they're scared of. They're not living in the moment of whatever they're doing.
all of those can be combined into like the one moment. So
I think the opposite.
So it's like,
but, keep going.
okay.
I'll explain what I think after.
100%. And so I think that kind of what you were saying I think that when you truly experience, I think that when you take a step back, remove all the stimuli, and you're living in the moment, you're not thinking about the past, you're not thinking about the future, you're thinking about the now. You're thinking about how much now sucks. And so you live in the moment. You're like, wow, I'm fat, I have no money, and you know, X, Y, Z things, right? Like I'm divorced or whatever. Do you know what I mean? That's the average American. The average American is overweight, divorced, and has a negative net worth. And so on average, when people live in the moment, that's what they're experiencing. And so of course they don't want to live in the moment. And so, like I said, the two choices you have is you can either go to those quick hitting dopamine stimuli, or you can go, if I have to live in this and experience this joy for the rest of my life, I might as well do something about it, and I might as well change. And so that's what creates the change, or creates the bad habit, which both are reinforcing feedback loops. It's just which one do you decide to do first. And it's very easy to start something that you've already started, and it's very easy to stop something, or it's very easy to never do something that you've never done. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say live in the moment, I'm not saying you're not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future, you're thinking about the now. And the past created the now. In the future, you're grieving what could have been. You know what I mean? So I saw this really good quote on an Instagram reel. I forget who said it, but it was like, and I'm ranting, I'll let you go in a second, but it was grieve what could have been. Like, look in the past, go, if I would have made different decisions, I could be in a lot better, like in a lot better position. And a lot of people would consider, no, you're dwelling on the past. Like, no, I would consider that, no, you're grieving what could have been. And so
It's just different words.
But that disconnect between who you are and where you want to be, that's what creates the action and what makes you improve. And so bringing it back full circle, back to the alcohol thing, when the way that I see the world, a 19-year-old who has no idea what he's doing, people who drink are actually deterring themselves from the moment, which is not enjoying life at all. It's actually doing the exact opposite. What are your thoughts?
Okay. So what I think, my take is interesting, because I have a very similar take on enjoyment, but I think that what it leads to, I think is quite opposite to what you think. And so when I think of enjoyment, it's very similar to what you think, and to where it's living in the moment. And so this is my example, and I thought about this is going to be a little bit crude, but right. I mean, when you think about, an orgasm, like when you're genuinely not thinking about anything else in your entire life, you're only focusing on one thing. So true, enjoyment or happiness is truly like being one with the thing you're doing. And like this kind of goes back to like the old cliches you hear with meditating, right? Like being one with yourself, or like what was the one I just said? But like being one with the moment, and it sounds like cliches, but when you kind of take it for what it is, it's you're in the moment is you're not thinking about anything else. You're focusing on the thing you're doing, and that comes as enjoyment, because humans can't just sit in a room and stay still for 24/7. You want to be doing something. Like, that's how our brains are wired, that's how we work. Humans are active creatures, so we want to go out and do something. And so enjoyment is going out and doing something and not thinking about anything else. And that's when I say orgasm is like you're not thinking about anything else. And so when I think about it in those terms, I think about it as when people drink or smoke, that something like a vice, right? They aren't, like, no matter what's going on, they're not really thinking about that except for that night and those drinks. And so their enjoyment of that night, I understand what you mean about like taking it out of the present.
Sure.
Like they're not being in the present, but they're not thinking about anything else in life. They're only truly thinking about that night and the fun they're having. That's kind of my take.
So I would consider that completely detracting yourself from your current situation. When I say in the moment, I'm talking about everything, where you are in life, like in the moment.
That's not in the moment. That's
completely in the moment.
In the moment is being, like, in the moment. Take the words, like, you're in the moment. So the moment, let's say, is you're with 5 friends in a friend's apartment and you're drinking. That's the moment.
Sure.
You're not thinking about, being in the moment is only being in that room and having drinks and talking to people. That's not looking at your life, looking at where you're at, your net status, you're overweight. That's not that's out of the moment.
That could be a couple examples, but right.
In the moment is just what you're doing. That's being in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's being one with what you're doing.
Maybe one with yourself, one in the present, like experiencing
Like you're focused on what
your
you're doing.
life is.
When you're taking that shot, you're not thinking about anything else but the shot.
Sure. So maybe what I'm trying to say is rather than in the moment, you're...
Well, what I think is, and what kind of goes right directly after that shot point is, there's no future, like what's the word, long-term gratification from that. I completely agree with that.
Sure.
After that shot, I mean, it's kind of like going out and ordering 3 burgers. Like you eat the first one,
And then
you're not satisfied.
Yeah.
You eat the second one, you're not satisfied. You eat the third one, you're full. Now you're happy.
Yeah.
You ate 3 burgers.
Mm-hmm.
You ate more than you wanted to. You didn't want to eat the 3rd burger, but you're like, I'm gonna treat myself. Now you feel like crap. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's not enjoyment. But long term, it doesn't. But while you're eating the burgers, you're not thinking about anything else. And so they enjoy the vice because it takes them away, and they're in the moment.
I don't know if I would consider that in the moment. I completely understand what you're thinking, but I think if we took it at like a little bit of a higher level, not like intelligence-wise, but just like words-wise, like in the moment, like I understand from like it's about perspective. In the moment, you can think about, oh, I'm living in the moment. I'm doing these things. You know what I mean? Like, let me live in the moment.
Yeah.
And in some circumstances, that's right. I can give an example, but I won't.
Give an example where it's
Your
wrong.
example was perfect. That's a good example. That's a perfect example.
Give an example where it's wrong.
Huh?
Give an example where it's wrong.
That as well. I think that example works both ways. And so it's
How
wrong
so?
because if you look at your life, the current moment you are in, and then look at the behind, and then look at the future, grieve what could have been, analyze what past has been, you're not living in the moment. I would say you actually are. You're experiencing everything you're experiencing everything that you are, not just what you happen to be doing in that moment. You're actually experiencing yourself, and you're letting the past come at you, and you're letting the future. You're looking at the future, you're looking at the past, you're looking at the present, and you're experiencing them all. And if it makes you feel bad, you want to feel good again. And so you do things to detract yourself from that, which I would consider being in the moment, to exit yourself from the moment, to go into this other moment of like, okay, I will feel really, really good for this time. And then as soon as this goes away, I am back to baseline. This baseline is the past, is feeling my past and grieving my future. And this is where I am now. And so I completely understand why you think that, and I think that would be right in a traditional sense. But I think if you want to actually like,
Well, I think sorry, go ahead.
Of what we're defining moment as, is just different.
Well, I think our disconnect is when you thinking in the moment or doing something in the moment, you're thinking about your mind and what you're thinking. And when I'm talking about in the moment, I'm talking about having a task and being focused on the task and not thinking. I think enjoyment like that comes from the not thinking part. That's what I'm talking about.
Not thinking isn't being present.
I think it's being totally present.
I
You're
think it's
fully invested in what you're doing. You're 100%
completely detracting
focused.
yourself from the moment to go to this higher level of stimuli that you get for a couple of seconds, couple of minutes, couple of hours, whatever it is, and you back to baseline, which is the moment, which is the present.
I think if you have a teacher and they have a lecture going right now, and you're sitting on your desk and you're fully focused on the lecture, 100%
Sure.
focused, are you in the moment?
Yeah.
You're fully focused on what's happening outside of you. You're not thinking.
I think it's stimulus based. You're not detracting yourself from anything with that. I think you are when you're doing these quick hits. This isn't like a blast on quick hits. I just think like this is the root of why they're so bad, in my opinion, is that you're experiencing
Are we still talking about drinks or just quick stimuli?
quick stimuli.
Okay, so we're talking about like hard opiate drugs.
Anything really. I mean, quick stimuli could be like video games you know what I mean? Like it could be anything. I think this is the reason why quick stimuli are so bad compared to I don't think that sitting in a lecture, I think if you take it on a high enough level, as a 19-year-old who has no idea what he's talking about, sitting in a lecture, listening to the teacher talk is completely different than,
I don't know what you mean by taking it to a high enough level, though.
I don't know what I mean either. I forget I
What do you
said
mean
that.
by that?
I don't know what I mean.
Okay.
I really don't. I just think like thinking about it, we'll say
How do you think about it? How? Like
thinking
through your mind? Or because when I say in the moment, I mean you're not in your mind. You're focused on something else. So
well,
that's
not in the
where.
moment.
How?
That's not being present.
If you're fully 100% focused on something, you're present. In my eyes, being present in the classroom is going to the classroom. This is literally the definition of being present.
What do you no, I'm saying you are present when you're in the classroom.
Right.
What do you focus on with the quick hits?
You're not thinking. Like that's what I mean.
You're not thinking. You're not in the
Right. You're focused.
If you're not thinking,
You're not
present.
thinking about. You're not thinking about your life. You're not thinking about your homework. What's going wrong. You're not thinking about that.
Okay.
You're focused
I'll
on
say
this.
this, I'll
You're
say
focused.
this.
You know.
Even if you can call that the present, which I don't think you can, but
Why?
let's say, I don't think you can call that the present because you're not thinking. You're not focused on anything. You're focused on air. You're focused on nothing.
You're focused
what
on the
you're-
task that you're doing.
What task?
Whether it's taking a shot with a friend or whether it's lighting a
Okay.
joint.
All right. Okay.
No,
so
because people like this is a serious thing. People like the actual physical aspect of rolling a joint, lighting
Mhm.
it, instead of just doing like a quick bong hit, you know?
Yeah.
Like they like the action of rolling the joint, they like the art of it. And because they're focused on it and they're not thinking, they enjoy that. Like that
The not thinking thing is what gets me.
right, but they're in the moment. Because of the fact that they're 100% focused on what they're doing. Like that is the present. What they're doing right there, they're rolling the joint. That's the present. They're in the moment because they're 100% focused on the present.
I think that's a different version of the present. Okay.
What
and
do you
so
mean?
I think that is a different version of the present that they're just experiencing for a little bit, but then once that experience is over, it goes. And this can also be with good stimuli too. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be. It can be any stimuli. Any stimuli that you receive, you're going to like a different level of like.
How's it a different version of a present? There's only one version of the present. It's just the state.
No, I don't think so. I think we need to figure out a different term, but I think that when you're receiving those stimuli, you're detracting yourself from the moment and you're just focusing on this. I'm sorry, you're detracting yourself from everything around you and you're just focusing on this, correct?
Right.
And so I would argue that
You
that's...
think the moment's in your mind and my moment's in the
not necessarily in the
space.
mind. I would argue that when you're doing this
Where's
action,
the moment?
this action is detracting yourself from everything else around you. And so the moment is a culmination of your past, the possible future, and where you are now, not just necessarily where you are now. And
Right, but that's all in your
Makes sense.
mind.
Sure. Okay.
So like
maybe
the
it all
moment
in
is in your mind, and
Sure.
I think the moment is in real life, and you're focused on real life. I think the moment, the present, is a state in real life, and I think that's where our disconnect is. That's what I was trying to get at. Is when you think of the moment, you don't think of the physical.
It is a state in real life. It's just how you are, like how you are with no. Okay, how about?
What do you mean how you are?
This is how. What do you mean how? What do you mean how you like how you feel? How you feel when you aren't receiving any.
Well, like what makes up?
Your past, and then the future of where you could have been and where you're not. That is how you are as a human, as a baseline, and then
Right,
anything
that's not
extra.
the present.
It absolutely is the present. Anything extra, is just external stimuli that you're receiving, that isn't part of what you are.
I think.
And
I don't see how your past and future can be in the present. That's where my disconnect is, because past, present, future in my mind, right? And you're saying a present is a combination of the past and future. You know?
Completely. The past
That makes no
creates the
sense.
present, and the future is where you think you could have been, but you're not. And so both those feelings impact your feeling in the present. And those are the only feelings that you feel without all of this other present stimulus, right? And so when you experience these stimulus, it can be great and it can be awful because you are taking yourself away from the feeling of the past and the future. You're taking yourself. I
Right.
understand the way that this is like really backwards. You're taking yourself away from those feelings, going to a different level of.
I hate that term.
Okay, what's a better term?
I don't know I don't know what you mean by it. That's what I mean.
Going.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a different level of what?
Different feeling.
You're taking a combination of the past and future, right?
Mhm.
And you're doing what with it?
Okay, well, What do you mean?
Well, because you said you were going to take it up to a higher level, but like, what do you mean?
Okay, let me try to explain.
Sure.
So, let me take a step back. Because I'm also just still thinking about this too. Like, a lot of this I haven't thought of before, do you know what I mean? And so I'm still like, let me take a step back. So, I think that when you are fully in the present would mean that you don't really have, well, maybe that's not true.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's obviously semantics. I'm trying to find a bridge between how we're thinking and what our definitions of some of these terms
Because
are.
I see what you mean, and I see that like makes sense. But then what is the feeling when you completely step back from all stimulus and you're just here and you're just you're completely in your thoughts here, and then the only thing that affects how you're currently feeling is what you did in the past and where you could be in the future, but you're not. That's what I'm saying.
That's a great question.
And
okay,
so
I see.
So
remove
try to
all
find
stimulus. Are you
so
still in the
I
moment?
called that the present. Let's not call it the present. Let's call it something different. What can we call it? Does that make sense?
So the present to you is a place or a state with no stimuli.
I don't think so. I think I said that originally, but I don't think I was right.
Okay.
So let's take present away and call it a different thing.
I think present is a state outside of us where it's.
The feeling that I was talking about was like fundamentally removed from everything. And you're just
I see what you
existing.
mean about that being in the moment, though.
Yeah, driving in the car.
Yeah, or even that stimuli, but
Like just
staring at a white wall.
like left side of your brain. How you feel is a result of what you did in the past and where you could be in the future, but you're not. And so the pain of that and the joy that you did, the happiness that you did experience back then, and the cost for that happiness now.
Yeah.
And regardless from all the present stimuli, that is where you are, and that is who you are fundamentally. That's how you feel at baseline. And so what is that called? Can we just call it baseline? What can we call it? Because that's what I was saying was like being in the present, and then that was my argument of
I
like
see what you mean.
when you were with that and and if you feel happy in that, great. But if you feel sucky in that creates the change.
It's definitely not present, but I see what you mean. I think baseline's a much better
present,
word.
Present
can mix it up
the right
with
word.
past and future. Using past and future and saying present is tough. But I think baseline is a good word for that. I see what you mean.
You are at baseline.
Yeah. Man, we started talking about alcohol.
Dude, I don't know what happened. This is a good conversation, though.
Yeah, amazing. Do you think, this is a little bit of a curveball, since alcohol is legal, do you think that weed should be legal?
I don't know.
Oh, different question. Question. Do you think that it should be 21 or older or younger?
Probably younger, because other countries are like 14, 16.
Yeah.
And I think the effect on the brain doesn't really change from age 18 to like age like 25. Like it's like.
Is that true?
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that but I was reading something where that is the case, but do your own research.
Yeah.
Don't.
I think that's true, with disregarding or discluding chronic users.
Oh, I think everything's true disregarding chronic users.
Yeah, that's true, but also like, especially because I think the brain still develops till 25. Technically, I think 23 or 25.
Something like that. I think it's different for men and women.
But so like chronically, it does cause problems. Same with MJ as well, marijuana.
Yeah. So I think it should be lower, and I also think that everybody drinks anyways under 21, so it's like whatever.
Right.
Genuinely. And so, it's just a matter of making it like a little bit easier to get.
A lot of countries, it's like you can drink at this age, but you can only buy it at this age. Like the British Virgin Islands, you can drink at 16, but you can buy it at 18. Which I think is cool.
Fair, I guess. I don't know. I know it's cold.
Yeah, dude, it got cold all of a sudden. How long have we been?
Not long for a
for?
podcast. Not long enough.
Is
for
that
a podcast.
true? I want to check it real quick.
Go ahead.
Cold, man.
It's definitely not long enough.
What
We're
happened?
Probably not even 30.
36.
36. We got another like half hour.
That's fine with me.
In us.
Might have to grab a blanket and some hot chocolate.
That's what I'm saying.
Pause all this real quick. Oh,
Goodness.
I'm not gonna pause it. I'm just gonna suffer out here with you guys.
It's fine. Hopefully you guys can understand the cold because it's freaking freezing.
I hope it's cold for you guys too.
I hope you guys are freezing.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are in the Arctic.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Man, screw you comfy guys.
But I kind of want to go back to the conversation about like baseline and present.
Sure.
And so like when you look back to the definition of joy, so I think your true joy isn't in the present, it is at baseline. And so you know whether you really are joyful when you take away all the stimulus and you are who you are, past, future, like I was saying. And that person, if you feel good, that goodness is joy. And if you feel bad, that is a lack of joy.
So,
I think
joy is feeling good at baseline.
Completely, yeah.
Okay.
And so I think that was a really helpful way for me to think about it.
Yeah.
And then I hope that helped you guys at home. And so I just wanted to bring it home with like, I spent a lot of time thinking about it, but I guess I need to spend more time thinking about it.
Nice little anecdote. Everybody does.
Yeah, and so I probably still need to.
I don't think there's ever going to be a day where I'm like, I'm
done
thinking about
thinking
this.
Yeah.
I've solved the problem.
So if that definition of joy helps you guys, enjoy.
Enjoyment.
So enjoy would be to immerse yourself in baseline, regardless of how you feel.
I love how we're just winging it. Winging the definition.
I'm not winging it. I thought about that for a while.
I'm winging it a little bit. I mean, no, I'm not winging the definitions. This is from what I've learned, and I don't think I've ever talked about it to this length before.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great conversation.
Yeah, I think about it I think about it a lot.
It's
but
not that I wing it, I just keep it to myself, to be honest. That's what I mean.
Too.
You know what I mean? Like,
I
it's different how I think about it and how I say it almost.
I think about it a lot, but I don't have anybody who has different thoughts to think about it with.
Right.
That's why I want a girlfriend, dog. Like, that's
Damn.
literally what I want in a female, is just somebody I can,
Somebody
like,
who I can actually
bounce my thoughts off of. Like, I want a girl version of you, basically. Minus a couple other things.
Bro.
I'm just kidding.
Not on the podcast.
I know.
That is a joke.
What's a joke?
Not on the podcast.
Oh.
Oh no. Man, that'd be cool though.
What?
But she'd have to be a guy to understand.
I mean, not the joy thing. And I also think having a woman's perspective is different, too. It's about perspective.
I'm joking on that, but she's out there.
Hopefully.
She might be here, man.
I was going to go to the library and I was like, I might talk, I was going to ask a girl about the, like, a video. And so I'd be like, which one do you prefer? And then there was not a single girl who was standing alone in the entire freaking facility, dog.
If you couldn't find any girls, typical.
Which is the dumbest thing. They were all with people. There were not a lot of people in this library.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Dude, everybody's with groups here.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. There's not really too many people walking solo.
There's cliques around here.
There's cliques around here for sure.
No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, it's not even cliques. It's just people like out enjoying their life. Like you just go, you see people sitting down on the grass with their dogs playing, and they're like playing cards and stuff. And you're like, I got work to do.
Yeah, true.
Man, when do you guys find this time to go out and just sit in the yard? No, it's not that I find the time. It's just like when I finally have that time, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm not as creative as them. Sometimes I'm just not as creative.
I think about all the things I want to do during that time until I'm actually in that time, and I'm like, what do I actually do?
What do I really want to do? And a lot of times it's just eat and
no, it's not. Is it?
Recently, it has been.
That's good.
I've been eating a lot actually.
That's good.
Gained a couple pounds.
Speaking of food, I'm starving.
Really? I had the last pizza.
I know.
I ate the rest.
There's a Sheetz near here. It's
there
not remotely open because it's 3 a.m.
24/7.
Is it really?
Sheetz? Yeah. Come on, bro. Sheetz?
We might have to take a pit stop after
Sheetz
this
is
podcast because we're not sleeping tonight. Or I'm probably not. You probably.
You're
You're definitely not.
So.
You have an 8 a.m. You're not sleeping.
What time is it?
3.
I'm cooked.
Yeah, it's 3. You're not sleeping.
GG's.
Have you done this? You've done this before.
Oh yeah, all the time. Oh yeah, I stayed up all night last week.
This would have been the third all-nighter I've ever pulled in my life.
Really? We'll see if you fall asleep. At what point in the morning does it consider an all-nighter? When the sun comes up?
When the sun comes up. Ooh, wait, that made me 4.
That's like early.
That made me 4 because I stayed up to do an essay until like 5:30 in the morning, and the sun came up as I was going to sleep.
Wow, you rascal.
I know.
That was gonna be me tonight, depending on how long I had to do that essay. I couldn't remember.
He had to do an essay. We were like, oh, let's do the podcast.
I had a 6-page essay due tonight.
He had a 6-page
Well,
essay due at
Due
5.
at 5 p.m. today.
And then he
but
started at like 6 p.m.
I turned it in. I'm just gonna email her and be like, please, please, please. please.
That's the email.
No, I'm
Dear
just-
professor, please, 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 please.
Luckily, there's a grace period. So.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Then what's the point? Then just make it at midnight.
It's
due at
I
5.
know, right? I know. And then sometimes she'll do it on a day and it'll be like September 12th, right? By 8 a.m. Come on.
It always up
Come on. By 8 a.m.? Well, what do you mean? Wait, you said what?
I don't even know. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Well, the class is on 8 a.m. So like she does it. So now I'd rather just have it at 12 so I could just stay up late and do it. But now I gotta wake up earlier to do it, bro. You're not gonna get me with this. And like some people are like, oh, but you just get 8 extra hours. No, you don't understand. You don't understand the procrastination game. It's an art.
You're right. No, yeah. You lose so many hours when she does that. At least 8, really.
At least 8 hours. And now I
Something
gotta
like-
stay up all night. I say by finishing the essay by 12.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We have so many, pivoting a little bit, we have so many videos to film tomorrow. It's not
Yeah.
even funny. Like, we have to meet up on weekends to film like 2 weeks worth of content. And then I just edit it throughout the week and he just works on his end of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is something completely different, which you guys will find out eventually. But we actually don't even know what it is right now. So when we know, you'll know.
Yeah, right.
But we have so much to do tomorrow. We'll figure it out.
It's fun keeping it stressful.
I actually completely agree.
We
It's
just
like,
knock
we'll
it out in 2
figure it.
days.
And then,
It's like we complain and then we.
well, I don't know if we
Mhm.
physically. I mean, this podcast doing it now has been huge because we don't
Yeah.
have to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, but we'll be so tired tomorrow. We could have gone to sleep, you know. We could have not played ping pong.
Dog, no,
We
you're
played ping
right.
pong for like 40 minutes.
Because it's done nighttime, so we can't really do anything.
We could have been asleep night by 1 o'clock a.m.
We could have done 2 podcasts.
Where's your
We could make
mind?
this a 2-parter and just go for like 2 hours. Like, we'll come back for part 2.
Okay, I'll do that with a blanket and a hot chocolate.
Let's go for an hour and then get a blanket and hot chocolate, do another hour.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good with that. It's cold, man.
This is cold, but we still have like a good 20 left. So we gotta think of something.
That's fine. I think it's more than that. I bet you we're at 50 right now.
That's fine.
47.
I'm fine with that.
That's okay.
Dude, if you could only eat at like one food, like I'm talking
Fast
like,
food or restaurant?
no, like medium food, like
What
like
does that mean? Like medium spicy?
moderate speed food places.
Oh, okay.
Like not like McDonald's, but like
Yeah,
Wingstop.
like a.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you go in, you go to a counter, like Jersey Mike's, like not that. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you're talking about.
Only one of those for the rest of your life. What are you picking
For the rest of my whole life.
for the rest of your whole life? And
Dang.
the menu never changes from what it is currently now.
Really?
So no Christmas item. No,
Come on.
It yearly rotates. And so like if it's like Chick-fil-A,
Really?
like if it's like Krispy Kreme, which
I would not choose
Which is
that.
mine.
It'd be a short life. It
it'd
wouldn't
be
have
like
a
the
year.
Christmas donuts, like the Halloween donuts. would
Okay,
come-
okay,
you know,
okay,
you know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah.
But it'd be like the same thing every year.
Dude, I wouldn't last that long at Krispy Kreme to get to the seasonal.
I'm alright with that.
Yeah. You know, I was gonna say like a Japanese place, because that's a medium. You can just go in, grab some soup, grab some.
Oh, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know my answer.
But for the rest of my life, dude, like what if I choose the wrong restaurant and I just don't like the stuff on the menu?
Well, then you don't choose.
That's
Don't
a
choose
tough life. It could be Mexican. No, I like my gastrointestinal system. I do. Let's see, what's yours, man?
Panda.
Panda Express? No
100%,
way. Really, it's so much
I
sodium.
could eat Chinese food. Dog. Okay, well, opportunity cost to everything, dog. Like, it's either too much sodium or too much sugar. But it's
Facts.
dude,
That's
like
deep.
there's so many options. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's America.
Yeah.
That's 100%. I could eat Chinese food for the rest of my life.
Chinese food.
Yeah, and I
That's
don't even eat
crazy.
it. I don't even eat it ever.
I think after a week you'd be like, I don't want noodles anymore.
Oh,
no more orange chicken.
100%.
I want normal colored chicken.
You're right, but
Yeah.
that's my pick.
I would choose. Nah, I don't know if that's considered fat, like medium food. Can I choose Olive Garden?
That's so not me,
Oh,
dude. That's
come
so
on.
sit down.
What you mean? Okay, I guess my perception is so skewed because I'll be getting like DoorDash pickup, and then I just go in, get the food, go back home and eat.
Yeah, it is
That's
skewed.
what I'd be doing. So
Try to
every
unskew
place
it.
is medium place to me. You know what I
Unskew
mean?
it.
On the scooter? No. My roommate has a scooter that he uses.
I
but
said unskew it.
unskew it. What is that?
You said your view is skewed.
Oh.
So unskew it.
No, I like my warped perception of reality. It kind of keeps it entertaining.
All right. Well, there's that.
Yeah, man. I mean, what's a normal perception of reality at that point?
We should have moved the camera so we could see the full moon. Well, fullish moon,
Yeah.
kind of. But that would probably mess with the lens.
It would somehow focus on the moon.
Dude,
and not
have you
me.
seen the movie The Martian?
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
The guy who
With
gets
Matt Damon?
stranded on Mars?
Yeah.
Dog, I saw it yesterday.
I read the book too. So good.
So I'm talking about the movie.
Yeah, the
I'm just
movie was
kidding.
good.
I'm just kidding. Is it a good book?
It's good, yeah. But Matt Damon did really good in the movie.
So good.
Like,
Dude,
there's some movies that
such
just
a
suck.
good
But
movie. Oh my gosh, because it was such a good movie. The
Yeah,
ending
dude.
was great. Like, it was just a good movie.
uh-huh.
It was just a good movie.
It
I
really was.
really didn't have any follow-ups.
really
to that.
was.
Just a good movie.
I would love to go up to Mars or like the moon or something.
If you had the chance, would you
Oh,
go?
absolutely, I would.
to space?
Absolutely, I would spend a small to medium amount of my life portion to go up to space once in
What's
my
a
life.
small to medium amount of life?
I mean, it depends on how much money I have. I mean, like a small to medium amount of money.
Oh, I thought you said life.
Yeah. Oh no, like small to medium amount of money to go up to the moon, or even, yeah.
To go
I'd
up
sell
to the
my wife
moon?
and kids to go to Mars, basically.
I'll just upload the podcast to just that and then end it.
Yeah, bet. Sounds good. That really gets my views intact. I mean, I was gonna be before I went into business. I was gonna be like an astronautical engineer. I was really interested in
And
that.
then your math
Uh
teacher.
huh. I watched that. Yeah. I
Dude.
watched that movie. You ever seen Hidden Figures?
No,
Oh, it got me so excited.
I guess it hid
but-
from me.
Yeah. What were we gonna say?
The last time I ever heard you talk about astronomical engineering was when you were complaining about your math teacher, and then you said the following line. Dude, my math teacher literally makes me not want to do astronomical engineering anymore.
Yeah.
I never heard you talk about it again.
Switch to business.
Switch to-
Literally.
Switch to business.
Man of my word.
Yeah, that was with me with comp sci. In my comp sci lab, we always joked like, "Let's switch to business." Let's just switch. And then I did switch to business.
Yeah.
It's not good, but it's great. It'll be great. I'm so excited to see what the future holds.
Me too, man. I'm not even like. There's not even too much of my past that I regret too. So I'm kind of just ready for the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't regret too much. I've definitely made a lot of mistakes,
Oh, me too. But I'm not.
but I'm grateful for them because it's
my mindset, my philosophy is, if you made the best choice with the options that you had
Yeah,
at the
no,
time,
yeah.
and you tried your best, you
Yeah.
know, like simple words. I know it's cliche, but there's truly no reason to regret anything, especially like based on the outcome. How are you gonna regret something based on how something
that's
went?
my thing is that I made the wrong decision with the
Yeah,
with
right.
the-
My
like,
regrets are when I knew
and-
the right decision, I still made it wrong.
Well, I know the right decision. I just could have made a better decision with the choices that I had, not knowing retrospect. You know what I mean? And so I think that's when I learn a lot.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I've learned from my mistakes, and then I'll make a ton of more, and then I'll learn from those, and I'll just die,
Yeah.
and none of it'll matter.
Yeah, it's kind of
Maybe it will
annoying.
matter.
It's kind of annoying. Like a lot of times, I feel like I know I feel like I know what's right, like the right thing to do, that I should be doing at that time, pretty often.
Well, I
feel
think
like
we
it's kinda
all
annoying.
do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like every human, like
I
they
should
kind of
probably-
know what they should be doing.
Dude,
In a
completely
sense.
like that's so true.
Or if you don't know, there's so many basics of being a human that you can.
Yeah, I think
that just make you feel
most
better.
people know what they should be doing, and then they just psych themselves out of it. Like a
Yeah.
simple example is like,
Or overcomplicate it.
yeah, I should study tonight. Ooh, but I need to get sleep. Oh, but I don't really have all the material. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
you start to you just start to think about so much. And so I have a Japanese quote on my phone. It's not a Japanese quote. I just put it in Japanese because I thought it would look cool. And I'm probably gonna get it tattooed on me at some point.
What is it?
It says, "Don't think, just do." And so it's like, you know what you should be doing, so just stop thinking and stop making excuses and just do it. Do you know what I mean?
Uh,
Like, so many examples.
When
like,
would think smarter, not harder come into play?
think smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
After you've worked on the thing for a really long time, and so it's like in the middle of the doing. You know what I mean? Think smarter, not harder, while you're studying, not before or after.
Yeah, man, that's kind of tough. That's a very tough topic. I feel like it's very contextual.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very it's a very general
generic
thing. You know what I
topic,
mean?
yeah.
But I
Or not
definitely,
generic,
I think it
general, yeah.
holds true in the vast majority of situations. Like, there's
Right.
gonna be an exception to. There's no perfect rule.
Your
There's
mind is very good at convincing you otherwise.
Convincing what?
Convincing you otherwise.
What do you? Oh no, 100%.
Yeah.
And so I mean, that's like
Mental gymnastics.
dude. It literally, and like I definitely experienced it a lot of like where I'm like, I'll start working, and then as soon as like the work comes around, I'm like, well, here's 10 reasons why I shouldn't work.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, try to just not listen to those reasons and listen to your past self.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of
That's
people end up
something.
going to their vices and kind of getting distracted then and kind of a good, actually this is like a good exercise I kind of do for myself is like you try to tell yourself like, okay, what if I just get rid of this vice for the rest of my life? Like what if I tell myself that I'm never ever going to do this again?
Yeah.
And as you do that and you kind of focus on what you think about, your mind will be like, oh no, like you can't do that. You
Fight or
can't do
flight.
that.
Fight or flight.
Yeah, and you get like, your mind will tell you reasons why you shouldn't be doing it.
But then you play it out and you
then-
realize it doesn't actually matter at
Right.
all.
And not just that, it starts with being like, hey, you should be doing that. And then when it still doesn't get it, it's just like, it's going to slap you in the face. It's literally going to be like, no, we want this. Like, this is what you should be doing.
That's what addiction is.
That's what with withdrawal. That's the term
That's
for
what
it.
it
It's
is.
literally
It's what addiction is,
withdrawal. And then it gets angry at you. And it's a good exercise. Like, just tell yourself, literally tell your mind, I will never ever use this thing again. I won't touch it, and see what your mind comes up with.
Yeah.
Truly.
To like
It'll
make-
find excuses. See them, feel them, be aware of them. That's partly meditation, is just being aware of what you're feeling. And that's pretty much a lot of the meditations you'll see is sitting there and focusing on what you're feeling. I could go. There's lots of different examples of that. I actually I did a lot of studying into that a couple months ago. We can talk about that, but
Go ahead.
I'll save that for another day.
Okay. All right. Well,
For a
sorry
different
guys.
topic,
Guess you'll have to tune into one of the other podcasts to hear
gotta
about
keep you in
that.
suspense,
Yeah. But
But-
I'll say, unless did you have a
No,
point?
go ahead.
I'll say they did a lot of, just to kind of like, side note, they
Yeah.
did a lot of studies, and by a lot I mean like 2, about like how people give advice. And so what they did was they explained basically somebody's exact life to them, but they did it in a way that they didn't know was their life. And the advice that person gave about their life was almost always not what they were actually doing.
Right.
And so people give better advice to other people than what they do to themselves.
Right.
And so just if you try to, what helps me a lot is like if I were talk about my problems to myself as if I were an external third party who had no skin in the game, and then give myself advice, like act like I'm a different person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, I don't want to study tonight because I really want to sleep. Like, say that out loud. And then, like, pretend you were somebody else giving yourself advice. And you'd be like, well, you should probably just study. Because you actually don't know how to pass this test at all. You're actually ignorant to the material.
Yeah.
And so you should probably study. And, you know what I mean? And so that's really helped me.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. And that kind of goes to the thinking, along the lines of like, people kind of think to themselves like, okay, I'm not doing perfect right now, but as soon as that one opportunity comes, I'm gonna do it perfectly. I'm gonna show people how to shine. And it's kind of like, it's like being like thrust into another world, and you're like, you get a whole new chance to shine. And people don't understand that you can take your problems are more important than you're thinking. Like you're never gonna two things. One is that opportunity is never gonna come to you, or it's gonna come to you once in a lifetime maybe, right? That perfect opportunity where you can really show people who you are and prove to people that you're amazing. And 2, if you're not doing the things that you're like the problems that you're not fixing the chaos in your life right now, whatever that may be in your life, when that opportunity arises, are you really going to be capable to handle it?
And going off of that, I love that.
Mhm.
I love that. And going off that, Chris Williamson has said this.
I got that from Jordan Peterson, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Epic. So Chris Williamson says this. I'm not sure if he was quoting somebody else or if he said this. I'm pretty sure he said it, but I'm not sure. He said, it's a really beneficial frame to believe that everything in life is stagnant and you're the only malleable thing. That's a paraphrase, but like
Yeah.
basically everything is not changing. The only thing that can change around you is you.
I've heard
You
this
know
with
what I
like the
mean?
example of the pen, right?
And so it's so beneficial to me, even when I get in like arguments with people. So I was in an argument the other day with a person, and I was upset that they took offense to what I was saying when I didn't mean offense to it. And so I was just like, they just gotta stop being so sensitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But rather than expecting other people to change,
You're malleable.
you should do the changing.
Right.
And the tough part is knowing when you should change and knowing when you should not change. And so in that specific circumstance, I was, they were taking offense to what I was saying.
You could have changed.
Whether they were sensitive or not is irrelevant.
Right.
If I don't want them to be, this particular relationship I can't really get rid of. And so, and so I have to change myself so they don't get annoyed at me anymore. And that's a very dangerous game because you don't want to change yourself too much to how other people perceive you. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't want to change yourself too much, and you don't want to like be so malleable that everything like changes you. But you also want to be able to change when the time is right. And so deciding when to change and when to not change is so important. I'm freezing.
I am too. And I think a part of that is, delivering the message correctly to your right audience, and that's sort of rhetorical literacy. And that goes into the bigger part of what I think that people are way more malleable than they think. Like what people say is like excuse me, I am who I am.
What was that?
That's just me farting. But
Oh, I thought that was a beat.
oh, come on. But I think people are they think of a lot of aspects of them as parts of them, and like I am who I am, and that's set in stone. And I think a lot of that is more changeable than people think.
Okay,
I'll
so
leave it
this
on
is
that.
huge. I was in the car with 3 other friends. They were 3 other heavy Christians. Three heavy Christians. And we were talking about just like, beliefs and stuff. And we were talking about one of them in the car. I'm trying to be intentionally vague because I don't want, but because I respect these people. They're great people. One of them in the car was basically saying how they were raised. So okay, here's some context. I had aux, and so 4 guys in the car. What am I playing? California
Full
Girls by
Christian.
Katy Perry.
Nice.
Right? So I'm playing it. We're all doing the music. I look at him. He's not singing, so I start singing at him. Because if you don't know, I learned this from you. If you start singing the music and then you look at the person, they start singing too. And I learned that from him. And so he wasn't going to start singing. He's like, dog, I don't know the words. I've never heard this song before. I'm like,
What? California Girls?
Kid was private school his whole life, like homeschooled. Like not even private, like homeschooled.
Wow.
Parents wouldn't let him listen to any music. Super, super conservative, super sheltered. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying that's what it was.
It's just what it was.
And so we got in a conversation about like beliefs and stuff, and he was very sure in his beliefs, right? But when confronted with confrontation, he was just like, I don't know. This is just who I am. This is just what I am. And so a big part of it. And so just to give you context about the type of person this person is, we were going to go to hibachi, a $12 hibachi thing. And
nice.
he was like, I just can't rationalize spending $12. And I'm like, what about?
You possibly can't.
You can't rationalize spending $12 to hang out with some friends? I was saying it kind of like rhetorically. And then he was like, no, I just can't. It's just not, it's just very out of my comfort zone. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, you don't like going out of your comfort zone? He's like, no, I want to stay where I'm at. I like where I'm at. You know what I mean? And so after the fact, when we left the car, the group and I, we were like, and I said this too, I was like, we really respect, he's firm in his beliefs. I really respect that. You know what I mean? But after the fact, I was thinking about it, and I realized I actually don't respect that he's firm in his beliefs, because it isn't impressive to be firm in your beliefs with no reason. It's impressive to be firm in your beliefs with evidence. And so somebody who is stoic, I think if you, stoicism, I'm not going to use that. I hate that word. Forget it. To be firm in your beliefs means you're confronted with evidence and you've already thought about that evidence. And so now you have XYZ arguments as to why you don't believe that and you do believe your thing. But also to be intelligent and to be firm in your beliefs, I don't know what another word for firm in your beliefs, just like integrity behind your beliefs is to be confronted with evidence that you haven't heard of before and be able to change your opinion if that evidence makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that, a part of that is going out of your comfort zone and stuff. It's another ramble, but
no, you're good. I think there's 3 words that my dad told me, and this like really changed my life. Dude, I think about this all the time. Can't or won't.
yeah,
I ask that to people all the time.
We talk about this so much.
Because people misuse the word can't, and when they really should be using won't. It's okay to be firm with your beliefs, but say, I won't go to hibachi, not that I can't go to hibachi.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I love that. It really sums it up perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much all I got, man. I'm ready.
Just real quick closing.
Yeah.
The only way to grow is go out of your comfort zone. And if you want to stay the person you are now, stay comfortable. And the only way to not stay the person you are now is to be uncomfortable. So we're super uncomfortable right now. And so we're going to end. We're probably going to, I'm actually down to do another one, blankets and hot chocolate.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it, I guess, because that seemed like he was not down for it.
We'll
so.
see. I'm cold,
Anyways,
man.
you can close
Let's
it
figure
out.
that out first. Thank you for watching the aowhodis podcast. I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.
Stay safe, stay healthy. Later.
Stay safe, stay healthy. I love it. Let's see how long we got. An hour 3.
Dog, my phone died.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, I guess we deal with what we deal with, I guess.
Yeah, facts.